Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everyone is really well on this Tuesday afternoon. I want to just discuss testing hormones really quick in this video because I get a lot of questions on testing hormones. There's a couple of ways to test your hormones, and especially I want to look at low estrogen or estrogen because that's kind of the topic right now in my posts that I've been putting out. Low estrogen, of course, is a symptom of many things: perimenopause, under eating, other eating disorders, overtraining, some genetic disorders. I will be sharing the Harvard Medical School list of specific reasons why someone would have low estrogen soon. But testing, so the standard test for testing if your hormones are low, especially low estrogen, is to test for egg supply. And that used to be measured by measuring your follicle stimulating hormone, or FSH, and estradiol on day 3 of your menstrual cycle. And in some cases, you may also get your antral follicle count tested as well, which tells you how many ripe eggs you have in each ovary. So FSH can vary from cycle to cycle, so it's generally recommended that you would have a couple of tests done over 3 to 6 months. I know the thoughts of asking your doctor for a test like this can be challenging or even worrying, but there are ways. So FSH, or follicle stimulating hormone, is predictive of diminished ovarian reserve, or basically it can be an indicator of if you're in perimenopause or menopause only when it's high. So the evidence suggests that the most accurate way to measure ovarian reserve is a relatively newer test based on your levels of anti-Müllerian hormone, which is called AMH for short. Most doctors won't test for that. It's rarely tested here in Canada unless you're going to a specific gynecologist or a fertility clinic. They may test for it, but AMH is a protein made in the follicles of the ovaries, which then recruits and coordinates the formation of the eggs in the follicles. And as a woman runs out of these ripe eggs, her AMH falls, and it seems that AMH is a lot more reliable for detecting that reduction in the ovarian reserve than just FSH alone or the predecessor tests. So your AMH can also predict your age at menopause as well. And reminder that menopause is that one day where you've not had a period for 12 months. So AMH can help predict, hey, you're going to have this one day where you're at menopause at age 52 or 49 or whatever it may be, which I think is pretty cool because it can give you an idea of what to expect and then plan for that. And of course, I've spoken about before training for menopause. But here's why it's important to know your hormone levels. If you really are in perimenopause or prematurely perimenopausal or menopausal, which is quite common, there is new research coming out and statistics showing that women in their 20s and early 30s are starting to transition into a perimenopausal state a lot earlier than we used to. Like 2 decades ago, women were only transitioning into perimenopausal symptoms and state in their mid 40s, but it's getting earlier and earlier now, and we could discuss why that may be: our environment, stress, toxins, this, that, and the other. But regardless, women experiencing these perimenopausal symptoms before the age of 40 is a lot more common now. But at the same time, women in that age group, they still want to have children or have a baby. So knowing your hormones can help you figure out if that's still possible or what to do next. Or if you may need to go down the path of egg donors or fertility clinic, which is unfortunate to say right now, but it is the state of society and what women are experiencing right now. So if you are what we would call sub-fertile at an early age in your 20s or 30s, trying and failing to get pregnant can be disheartening. And estradiol and FSH levels may help you determine what the root cause is there and help you determine on how to proceed next. But regardless, if pregnancy isn't an issue, you would still benefit from testing your hormones. And I will throw in that the tests are not definitive of your diagnosis per se. I've had many clients send me blood results and pathology tests and thyroid panels, and their numbers look normal, and even in my ranges they look normal, but they're still experiencing these symptoms. I mean, I spoke to someone this week, and we're only on Tuesday, recently, and her estrogen levels looked perfectly normal, but she was experiencing the vaginal dryness, pain during sex, a lot of mood swings, a lot of emotional tendencies. So even though her estrogen looked normal on a pathology test, her symptoms weren't. And you are always going to know your body better than any doctor or any blood test. So if you feel like this resonates and these symptoms resonate, you're probably on the correct path and should take some sort of action towards it. Testing is awesome, it can be awesome, but it's not definitive. It's important that you look at your biomarkers or your symptoms, and again, you will always know your body better. Of course, many of you have that kind of antidote where you've gone to a doctor and you said, like, something's off, I don't feel well, this is happening, and the doctor says, no, you're fine, your blood tests are fine, but you're like, I know something's off. So we do, especially women, we're very in tune, we do know our bodies very well, and we know when something's up. But if you're experiencing these symptoms of low estrogen, the top ones being vaginal dryness, painful sex, bleeding after sex, you notice you're aging really fast, you're starting to get wrinkles really fast, everything feels really dry, your skin is dry, your eyes are dry, your mouth, your joints are dry, and that can present itself in lots of aches and pains and soreness that you might think, this might just be osteoporosis or something. Even though bone degeneration is correlated with low estrogen, it could just be that dryness and everything's grinding and rubbing together. So those are some of like the top symptoms of low estrogen. The mood disorders can be low estrogen or low progesterone, so some of these symptoms will cross paths, but for sure what I just listed there would be the more common ones for low estrogen, and this can happen like in your early 20s. So having the knowledge that could help you take action and prevent you from feeling lousy and experiencing these horrible symptoms can be very beneficial. So many women will ask their doctor or their gynecologist for a hormone test, and a lot of them will get told no, or they'll get told like these hormone tests are not helpful, even though most of the time most gynecologists and doctors wouldn't think twice about ordering hormone tests for women who are looking to get pregnant or having fertility issues. So why wouldn't you do it on an average day, obviously at a certain time of the month, usually around day 21 of your cycle, depending, day 21, day 3, depending on what you're testing. But doing these tests, this data, it can be very helpful, and especially if you get a couple of them, you're able to compare your current and your previous levels and then see potentially how you're aging, if you're aging well, And then also compare that to your cholesterol levels and see if there may be an issue there, because women, as we get older and our estrogen changes, cholesterol tends to start going up. As I discussed with Dr. Platt in our low progesterone podcast conversation, cholesterol not too concerning unless it's also in the context of high triglycerides and high inflammatory markers. That's when I get a bit concerned about that. But regardless, if you're still menstruating, I recommend asking your doctor for a blood test on day 3 of your cycle or day 21. If he or she argues, stand firm. They're there to serve you. It's your body, it's your health, it's your future at stake. You need to be an advocate for yourself. Alternatively, if they're not going to test for you, there is the Dutch test, which can be ordered online. It can be done at home. It'll take a couple of weeks to get the results back because it has to get shipped to either the States or Australia. A little bit more pricey, but if you really want to know, and maybe your benefits or your insurance or health spending account will cover the cost of a Dutch test, that can be super helpful. And then your next step is to just find someone to help you decipher the results. That's something I do, but there's lots of other people that do it. With the way science is going now, with the way research is speeding up, even, there's a lot more at-home testing that you can do without leaving your house, without the kind of invasive aspect of it, in the comfort of your home. The Dutch test is a dry urine test. There's some dry blood tests you can do at home. There's also the hair mineral analysis test. That can be quite helpful as well when testing for levels of minerals in your hair and not in your hair, in your body. We've seen that the hair test is the most accurate kind of reflection of what your minerals and heavy metals are like in your body for the last 3 months. So it really gives us a big picture. Then there's another one now. I don't know if they ship to Canada, but those of you in the States, I'm going to check this out. This is pretty awesome. This is a dry blood test, and they will test, so they're called Omega Quant, OmegaQuant. Pretty affordable, like $75 for the test. I don't know what the postage is like. It shouldn't be a lot because it's dry urine. And they will test your omega-3 levels, and they'll also test your D3 levels, which is super important, especially with hormones. They do another test as well. I think it may be cholesterol. They definitely do another test. But the point is, now we don't solely have to rely on going to our physician to get these tests. It would be great if they would do them. And if you have a naturopath or a functional medicine doctor, they could hopefully do them. The Dutch test, a lot of the time, is still going to cost you something. But if you have a practitioner that's not cooperative, or maybe you don't have a family doctor, or maybe you're living far out in the mountains, you can do this stuff at home, and testing can be very beneficial. So that's how we would test. I plan to put together a little infographic soon, hopefully, on my list of things to do on the numbers we're looking for. There's one in here on thyroid numbers, in here being our biohacking Facebook group. I'll put some together on numbers for sex hormones soon, hopefully. But hopefully this was helpful. And if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, and I'll respond as soon as possible. Bye.